thinking that fear is the stopping point. Fear is the entry point. Fear is the beginning. It's a fresh start. It's not a stop sign, okay? Fear is not a red light. Fear is actually a yellow light that's actually flip it about to turn green, okay? Tonight we're going to be talking about what is fear, overcoming fear. And the way to do that is to understand what fear is and the cues that it gives us. I can remember living in fear, and every time I felt fear, I would always pause. Like I would always like, hold up, and then not just would I pause, I would like sit there, literally, y'all. This is no lie. I would think of a million things or reasons why I shouldn't do or take the next step out of fear because I didn't understand at that time that it was an entry point. So I would do everything under the sun to keep me from doing the next thing. And if this you, I don't know if this you, but this was me. Like if it was time to like if it was okay, I need to follow up with potential clients. Guess what I would do? I would find everything else to do. Okay, well, let me send these emails first, or let me fix this flyer. Let me critique this. Let me post this. I would do everything else, but you guessed it, follow up with my potential clients. And not to mention when it was time for me to go live. What? I remember when it would be time for me to go live. One thing I would do is I would be like, okay, well, you know what? I ain't got this ready. Like, I ain't got that. I could wait till next week. Why can't I wait till next week? Or I could wait till tomorrow. I ain't got everything set up, or I'm just nervous. If I go live, is somebody going to watch? If they watch, am I going to get nervous? Are they going to feel like they gain clarity from watching me? But these are things that I encounter over and over and over again because I didn't understand that fear was an entry point. So every time I would be at the next steps, well, ready to go to the next level, right? So it didn't matter what it was. Every time I was ready to go to the next level, I would be like, okay, you know what? I would draw back. And I didn't understand the reason for that. And that's what a lot of young to middle age entrepreneurs do. When they feel fear, they're like, okay, I'm about to take this next step. It's time for me to call potential clients. Guess what they do? They start working on things that don't even matter. Let me fix my logo. Let me fix my flyer. Let me create flyers, right? Or let me schedule my posts, which is fine. Them are things we need to do. But when it comes to the main things, we don't seem to do it. We get nervous. We do everything else. And I know it happened to me. Has it ever happened to you? It's happened to me. It used to happen to me over and over and over because I didn't understand that fear, it was not a stop sign. It was an entry point. I didn't understand that. So if you don't know, fear is just it's a sign letting you know that you're growing. Something is new. Every time I didn't understand this was that every time we encounter something new, whether it's a job, whether it's a business, whether it's a relationship, whether it's finances, whether it's with your youth, it doesn't matter. Every time we encounter something new, we're going to have a little bit of hesitation. And that is a form of fear because we tend to think that fear, that, you know, it's a stop sign, that it's something new. We don't know what to expect. So we pause because our brain is naturally wired to keep us comfortable. And that's a good thing, but it can also be a bad thing as well. So we have to learn how to build the muscle, you know, the clarity muscle, so you can overcome these things that keep you living in fear. Because you're never going to overcome fear. Because you should always be growing, encountering something new. So every time you encounter something new, you don't know what to expect, right? You just don't know what's on the other side. Are they going to like me? Or are they not? Am I going to be a benefit? Am I not? Am I going to gain financial finances or am I going to lose finances? But these are things that we don't understand and we're not clear on. So when every time we encounter something that we are not clear on, if you don't know it, you're going to have a little bit of hesitation. And when you encounter that hesitation, so every time you're growing and you're going to the next step, that hesitation, that's a good thing. That lets you know that, hey, something is new here. Something new is here. So you have to remember that fear ain't your enemy. A lot of us tend to think that fear is our enemy. No, fear is our body way of letting us know that we're encountering something new and that we are about to grow. Think of every time you felt fear. I can guarantee every time you felt fear, I don't care what it was because it was something that you was unsure of. That's the only time we have fear. When we're clear on the outcome, we don't have no fear. See, a lot of people, and I like to say this. So even in death, so yeah, we're clear that we have to die, but it's not the actual dying that a lot of people are in fear of. It's the not knowing what happens after. It's not knowing, am I going to see my family again? Am I not going to see my family again? Am I going to heaven? Am I going to hell? These are the things that keep people living in fear. So it's not the actual, you know, um, things. It's the uncertainty that keeps you living in fear. So I want you to understand that anytime you encounter uncertainty, okay, you're going to encounter some fear. And if you're growing, you should always be encountering uncertainty. And so that means that you should always be stepping into some form of fear, which is great because it lets you know that you're growing. Okay. And like I said, for me, if you don't know, for me, I stayed in a lot of fear because I had, for not one, not two, not three, but four guns put to my head on different occasions. Right. Hey, how y'all doing, loves? Hey, hey, oh my gosh, Kiki Smith, I see you. Hey, and a gung. Oh my gosh, I probably messed that up. Please don't charge it to my heart. Please don't charge it to my heart. Okay. And Coca Cola, hello. Oh, are you talking to me? Calling me Coca Cola? Hey, I love it. I love it. I love it. But no, but I want y'all to understand that fear is not the enemy. It's proof that you're growing. And in order for you to even overcome it, you have to name it. So name it. My thing was I learned that a big thing for me was I was in fear of being successful. I had a fear of like growing, period, especially when it came to business. I had a fear of speaking on stage. I had a fear of speaking in front of people, a fear of going live, but I had to name it. Okay, so why am I nervous today? Okay, oh, you know what? I'm about to go live. I don't know what to expect. It's the fear of going live. Okay, so now that I name it, now I got to say, okay, I got to get clear on it. Is this fear of going live, is it a fear that I should acknowledge? I mean, is it going to harm me? Get clear on it. Is this, what can I gain from having this fear in this? Like, and I can't gain anything. Because why do I have a fear of speaking? Right? Because we have a tendency, fear, a tendency, blah. We have a tendency to have a fear of speaking because we don't know if the audience is going to like our message. But on the flip side, how do you know if the audience is going to like your message if you don't even present it? Right? So that can't be a great fear to have. You need to knock that out because you don't know unless you do it. Then another thing, If you're in fear of the audience not aligning with your message, are you prepared? Why do you feel that the audience won't align with your message? Make sure you're highly prepared. Do you know what you're presenting, how you're presenting it? Do you know your audience? These are things we have to understand. Once you get clear on that, you like, you know what? But that's what I had to do. I had to get clear because for a minute I wasn't clear on nothing. So I want y'all to understand that these is things that we got to do. Get clear, name it. I have a fear of being successful. Then I got to get clear on it. Is it reasonable for me to have a fear of being successful? Why do I have a fear of being successful? Oh, because I don't have a bachelor's degree. I don't have a master's degree. Because I don't have 20 years of speaking experience. Hmm. But what I do have, what I do have experience of living in fear. I do have experience of living without being clear on my values, my principles, and my goals. I do have experience with living in fear from having a gun put to my head 4 times. I have experience of living in fear from staying in a shelter, from sleeping in the car with having nowhere to go. So them with that was my reasons, right? But I had to get clear on that. And a lot of us don't get clear on things. And that's why we can't seem to understand fear. And we don't understand how to walk through it because we're not clear on it. Okay. So once you do that, now you named it, you're clear on it, right? You're clear on whether it's a valid fear to have or not. Now, let's say if you like, you know what, I'm in fear because there's a fire right in front of me and it's getting bigger. That's a valid fear to have. Pay attention to it. So I'm not saying yes. Sometimes it's a great thing to have fear sometimes, but we have to dissect when it's great and when it's just our mind is playing tricks on us. Dun, 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 because our mind does that a lot because it just wants to keep us comfortable. It's just trying to keep you safe. Now you got to be like Nike though. Once you get clear on it, you got to be like Nike and just do it. Do it now. So once you get clear, okay, well, um, okay, this is not a valid goal or a valid fear to have, or it is a valid fear to have. Now you got to do it while you're afraid. Do it now, not tomorrow, because you know Queen A teach what tomorrow don't ever come. When you wake up, you ain't gonna say, you know what, it's tomorrow. No, you're gonna wake up and say, oh man, I just started a good day today, another day today. So I always challenge you to start it now. So just do it now, today, not tomorrow, because it don't ever come. So before we do this, I want y'all to also understand this. Start reframing, start reframing your words, the way you think. That can keep you living in fear. For me, the big thing for me is I stay living in fear because I grew up believing that money was the root to all evil. So I was scared to be rich because I just thought that if I was rich and money was just gonna make me evil and I was just gonna have a nasty attitude. Anybody else ever had that? If you ever had that happen to you, drop it in the comments. For me, I grew up my mom and dad, they was very religious. One was Baptist, one was Catholic, and it didn't matter what side. They both taught that money was the root of all evil. But it wasn't until what? I had to get clear with my values, my principles, and my goals. And I had to look at that. Why do I have a fear of being rich? Oh, because I was taught that money is the root of all evil. Then I had to get clear on that. Is money the root of all evil? Well, money obviously can't be the root of all evil because guess what? Money can't do anything to anybody. Money ain't coming to nobody like, hey, it's a stick up. Give me my little kids back with my family, right? No. So what I came to learn was through the principles I teach is this right here. And if anybody else has been taught this, I want to tell you this so you don't fall into the same trap and stay living in fear of being financially stable. Okay? It's not the money. It's not the money that's the root of all evil. It's not the money. It's when people love money more than they love themselves that it becomes evil. Mm. Let me say that again. I had to learn through the principles once I got clear, right? And I got in tune with self that money ain't the root of all evil. No, it's not the money, silly rabbit. The trick is that it's when people love money more than themselves. That's when it becomes evil. Like how you got all these people around here talking about they get into the bag and that's all they care about. How people would do anything and defame themselves for a like, for a heart. How people are doing anything to become TikTok famous and Instagram famous. That's evilness. That's where the evilness come from. I'm just saying. I had to learn that through these principles that I teach. So I want y'all to understand that once I reframed that, then I said, okay, money ain't the root of all evil. You see, I reframed that. It's when people love money more. And then now I no longer say I'm broke. I'm not broke. I don't have broke best friends, none of that. Uh-uh. Nope. I don't have it now, but how can I, go about getting that? Like, right? I don't have it now, but how can I go about getting that? What can I do to get it if I want it? It's no longer I can't afford it. It's no longer what I can't do. Now it's about programming my mind for what I can do. Because anytime we say I'm broke, I can't, that just tells our brain to stop thinking. But once you say, I don't have it now, but how can I get that? How can I make sure I get it? Now you're automatically telling your brain to work like do 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 do. Our brain is like a computer. You're telling your brain to work and find ways for you to get it done. And that's what we have to do, okay? So before I get up off of here, I want y'all to write out your biggest fear, the biggest fear that's keeping you from getting to the next level of where you need to be. Whatever that big fear is, name it, write it down, okay? And I want you to ask yourself this: what is it protecting you from? Is it protecting you from something? Like I had to ask myself about that. Like, I had a fear of speaking. Is it protecting me from anything? No, it was no. It was not a go. It was no reason for me to live in fear of that. Okay, so but whatever yours is, what is it protecting you from? Like I also explained the fire. If there's a fire, right, and you are in fear, it's protecting you from being burnt. So ask yourself with whatever fear you have that's keeping you from getting to the next level, what is it protecting you from? Okay. And then ask yourself this: what is the truth about my capabilities to get this done? So, am I capable? Do I have the willpower to get this done? So, like for instance, if I have, like me, I had a fear of being successful. So I had to ask myself, well, do I have the capabilities? Am I capable to be successful? Yes. I had to say, yes, I am. If anybody else, because I always had to man frame, if anybody else can, I can too. And I believe you can if you really want to. Right. And then you have to ask yourself, what's one step, one thing that you can do now, not tomorrow, because it never comes, that's going to get you to the next step and prove fear wrong. Because you've been proving fear right. That's why you're still living in fear. That's why you're still scared to make them follow-ups. That's why you're still scared to, post. That's why you're still scared to go live. That's why you may be scared to fill out the application. Scared to move up. Scared to become that boss. Maybe somebody's been asking you to be a lead or, become a GM or a manager and you scared. And you don't understand why. Maybe you think you're going to mess up. I'm just saying, is it a real fear to have? But these are things we have to ask ourselves, okay? So I hope y'all got something from this. I really do. If you don't know me, to my royal family, first off, I have to take my hats off to you all. Thank you all for constantly watching me, keeping up with me, supporting me, and just staying here in the royal kingdom with your queen. Because I surely know that without y'all, there is not no me. And to my newcomers, the same to you all. I appreciate you all coming on here, rocking with me. Make sure that y'all subscribe to this channel if you want more clarity and confidence. Tomorrow, I do have a Slapping with Truth podcast episode that's dropping tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Make sure that you check that out as well. Okay. Also, if you want to check out my free webinars that I do, so you can gain clarity on how to become more confident in yourself and overcome self doubt, drop clarity in the comments, and I'll go ahead and I'll make sure I send you out that link so you can go ahead and register for my free webinars. Did I say they was free? All right. So drop that in the comments. I am alpha here, but not before I tell y'all this. If nobody else loves y'all, y'all already know. Queen A does. Later. Mwah.